guys, we'll go ahead and get started. Everyone, thanks for coming. Unfortunately, Red was supposed to host this event, but he had a emergency come up last minute. So instead of cancel on the 72 people, we decided that I'll host it. And then if you have more questions at the end, or you want a chance to listen to it again with Red October leading it, we will do another event next week or 2 weeks from now. So you can catch that one if you don't want to hang out here. So if you never, most of y'all have been here before, but if you have not, you can ask me questions in the Campfire chat. That's what it's set up for. Or you can raise your hand in this chat. And if you raise your hand, you'll be invited to speak, and you can ask your question over voice. Either way is fine. And I do see that we have some members here who did participate in beta and alpha. So if you guys want to comment and stuff or add anything that I missed, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And the way I'm going to approach it is just like if you were in the Immortal one from yesterday, we'll talk about the quest, general overview of the shadows, and then we'll get into the details and technical stuff a little bit later in the podcast. So for the starting off, you'll start off leveling, and then in level 40, you'll reach level 35 you reach Billithin, and then at the end of Billithin you should be around level 39 or 40. And the last quest that they give you in Billithin is they send you to the open world arena, PvP arena, which is in Billithin. And then from basically that's the introduction to the Shadow versus Immortal. And from that point, at level 41, they will send you over to start the Immortal quest line. Hang on, Paradise. Let me get you up here. I invite you to speak if you have a question.
Hello. I just want to say hi, and I'm new. I think I've arrived a little bit late. But, you only gonna discuss the shadow one or all of them?
So I did we did an Immortal Campfire yesterday, and that actually Red October already posted the recording of that in the Campfire chat, and so you can go back and listen to that if you'd like. It's in the Immortal Campfire feed. But we will also host another one probably next week or the week after. We plan on doing this a couple more times for the Shadows and Immortals before release, because a lot of people have questions on the factions. They don't know, which faction they prefer, and which faction is best for their play style, and so,
okay, all right.
So
cool.
we will be doing it again. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and check it out.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
So the quest line starts at 41. And at that point, you'll be introduced to Immortals, and they'll send you back to Westmarch, and that's where the Immortal quest line will kick off. And then from that point, you'll go through all the Immortal stuff. They'll do like a little introduction, and then next thing you know, they'll be kicking you, sending you right over to Bartender Bailey. And Bartender Bailey is where the Shadow quest line introduction starts. And if you have not seen, or if you did not get the chance to play through any of the testing phases, or you have not seen the videos, the climb and the lore behind the Immortal vs. Shadows it's really cool. I recommend you take your time, check it out, because there's stuff there you don't want to miss, and there's a lot of good lore. So, and like I said yesterday, the Blizzard has done a very good job with this game and holding your hand and walking you along the quest line, so you don't have to be worried about, hey, where do I pick this quest up? Where do I pick the more of a Shadow quest line up at? What level do I pick it up at? It's all going to be spoon fed to you. So they will hold your hand, they will guide you, they'll make sure you don't miss it. And I did get a question yesterday. If you do the quest line for Shadows vs. Immortals, does it take away from the the story quest line of the game, like basically robbing you of your time, EXP. Is it good to do the quest in tandem between the storyline and then Immortal vs. Shadow? And Blizzard's designed it to where you don't have to worry about that. Go do your Shadow vs. Immortal, get that done, and then after that they'll send you back to the storyline. So that's my recommendation. Don't skip the Shadow vs. Immortal. Don't put it off, because Shadows have a lot of fun activities. And we'll get into the technical side right now. We'll start right now. The first activity that are very rewarding is contracts. And so after you get through the initial little Shadow quest line, they'll send you on contracts. And contracts are basically almost like bounties, but they're a little bit more involved than bounties. They're fun. They take a little longer. They take you 7 to 10 minutes to do a Shadow contract. But they reap good rewards. So there's been times where I turned in a Shadow contract and I got 2 legendary drops from it. Rare, but it happens. And then they also basically give you points for your Dark Clan, and they help rank up your Dark Clan. So it's very good to do. So before I dive any further into the technical side aspect of Shadows, does anyone have any questions on the quest line or how that progresses before I move on? Let's see, Bones before attacking, so just give him a second to see if you have a question. Like I said too, just joined. Feel free you can raise your hand in here to ask a question or to make a comment, or you can also talk in the Immortal Campfire chat. So Bones' question is, once you hit level 40, doesn't the story and leveling slow down a bit? Meaning more grinding is necessary to finish the story further. Yes, Bones, that's true. You're absolutely 100% right. Really, you start noticing it when you get the built-in at level 35. You'll start noticing that so each zone has a range, like 30 to 35, 36 to 40, 41 to 45, and so forth. And you'll start noticing that you run out of the storyline before you're actually a high enough level to move on to the next zone. So yeah, that really starts at level, when you get the built-in at level 35, you'll start noticing that. So you'll have to do more stuff like complete bounties, run dungeons, do PvP for the XP, and stuff like that. So you will have to do that. There'll be plenty of time to complete the Shadow vs. Immortal quest line, and then finish the storyline, and you still won't be level 45 to move on to the next one. So it'll all work out. So Crompton's question is, when can you actually make the decision to become a Shadow? So it's at the end of that the introductory quest line. So you'll go through the Immortal side. They'll show you some stuff, full cinematics, stuff like that. Then you'll go through the Shadow side, do the Shadow cinematics and everything else with that. And then at that point, they'll give you an option to join Shadows, and it will tell you. It will say you have the option of staying adventurer, joining Shadows, or joining Shadows, and it will let you make that decision. So you'll actively choose anything. All right, so seems like that's it as far as the quest line, the storyline. So we'll move into the technical side. So as I was saying, it's important to start Shadows right away at level 41 because they give you contracts. And the very first day that you start as a Shadow, they will give you 3 contracts to do that day. Normally the contracts are 1 per day. But so go ahead and knock out 3 contracts the first day, and then after that it'll be 1 per day. And the rewards are really good. Don't skip them. They're good to do. And then on top of that, they give you test rewards for completing 3 different test rewards on top of the rewards you get from Shadow contract from the Immortal. So it is good to do those contracts because they'll help your Dark Clan climb the ladder. So secondly, the second thing you'll get introduced to in Shadows is something called Path of Blood. And the way it worked in beta was you had to get to level, I think, 4 or 5 Path of Blood. And what Path of Blood is basically like an arena. You'll join, you'll go up to the NPC and he'll tell you, and you'll click join, you'll join the arena. It's basically you step into a room and there'll be enemies in it, NPCs in it, and so level 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be just like a group of regular NPCs that you'll find out in the world, regular. And then to fit every 5 levels, there will be a boss. So then you'll fight just one-on-one versus boss every 5 levels. And it keeps going like that. And I believe that it gets to level 4 or 5, and then at that point you could join a dark clan. But I imagine that will be changed in beta because it's not going to work that way as a dark. You're not going to choose your dark clan. You're basically the leader of your clan is going to basically sign up the entire clan to become a dark clan to participate. So I imagine that will change. I'm not sure how it's going to work necessarily. So that's subject to change. But so then Path of Blood, it's a good way also. Every level you complete gives you points. Essentially, it helps you gain levels and it helps your dark clan gain levels. So on top of your dark clan becoming more powerful, you can become more powerful yourself and you build up ranks. And it goes all the way up to I think Whisperer 4. And at Whisperer 4 you basically have the most buffs and you climb the ranks and you've contributed the most to your dark clan. So that's basically it for Path of Blood. It's fun. It's almost like a challenge rift, but just for the shadows. So it's a neat bit. And then after that, they'll also. Does anyone have any questions about Path of Blood before I move on? Joel did ask the difference between Shadow and Adventure is 30 minutes of gameplay a day. No, I imagine it's more than that. It honestly depends because it will be 1 contract a day, which will add a little bit of time. But then you also rank up your Path of Blood, right? When you have the ability to complete that next Path of Blood, because that will contribute to your Dark Clan, and also give you increase your rank within the Dark Clan. Then there's also something called Raid the Vault, which you get special rewards for raiding the vault. I haven't talked about that yet, but if you can raid the vault, there is a max amount you can raid it within, I think, a certain time frame. But then you can go back later in the day and do it some more. So Shadows is definitely not as time intensive as Immortal, but you could spend 30 minutes, an hour to an hour and a half a day just doing shadow stuff if you want to. All right, Switch asks, what is our requirement going to be again as it relates to Path of Blood rank? Oh, Switch, we haven't actually put information yet to everyone on Discord, so I'll hold off on answering that question, and we'll release that information when Nino gets back from vacation. And so Bones McCoy asks, so can you only complete levels based on your offensive defensive rating, like challenge rifts? Can you do Path of Blood with groups? So no, Path of Blood is a solo event. It's just mano a mano. It's just you versus the enemies. That's it. And it's no longer called offensive defensive rating. It's called combat rating, but it essentially is the same thing. It's the same mechanism. So yes, it works like challenge risk. You'll get to a point where you'll walk in and you'll see big red letters on your screen that say high monster difficulty. And if you see those letters, it basically means your offensive defensive rating or combat rating is too low for the monsters in that Path of Blood. So you can go a little bit beyond your offensive defensive rating, a few levels you can do, but once you get to once the enemy's offensive defensive rating gets substantially beyond yours, you won't be able to complete the Path of Blood. So at that point, you'll have to stop. You'll have to go gain more power, via grinding for materials or getting upgrades in dungeons, getting new set pieces, stuff like that. The Path of Bloods are ridiculously fast, like per level. So if it's like a challenge rift, but much faster. So as soon as you walk in, if the enemies are real easy to kill, you'll kill the enemies in like one hit, one shot. But then as the enemies start to approach your offensive defensive rating, it will take a little bit longer. And then once they get above your offensive defensive rating, it will become a lot harder, a lot more difficult, and then you'll reach a stopping point. You'll basically run into a wall where you'll have to go gear up. Joel asked, shadow contract stack. I don't think they do, Joel. I wish Red was to answer this, or if anyone else knows the answer to this, feel free to speak up. I don't believe they did. It's so the first day you get 3, and then after that you'll complete basically 1 a day. I'm not sure if they stack because I did mine every day. So I would definitely have to get back to you on that. And Red would probably know the answer to that. All right, Reno Rock asks, can you touch base on having to apply weekly to join Shadows in a lottery at a specific time? So that's definitely going to change, Reno Rock. That was how it was in beta. So when you first access Shadows, you would basically join a lottery system and at a certain time, and then they would send you like an in-game mail and let you know that you've been selected to be a shadow. So that was the old system. I imagine that completely changes since now we'll be joined as an entire clan. So I don't have any more information on that, but I don't think a lottery system will be in the game anymore. So Bones said he believes shadow contract stack up to 3. So that's a good guess. All right, anyone else have any questions before we move on to Path of Blood? Oh, we got some people in their hands. Hang on a second. Let me get y'all up. All right, we'll start with you, Humility, then we'll go to you, Pinky. I invite you up. Y'all can join whenever you're ready. Y'all hear me? Humility, I gave you authorization to come on up if you want to get acceptance on, so to speak. So while we're waiting on that, I'll answer Robinson's question. No, there's Diablo Immortal, it doesn't rush you through stuff. You don't feel like it's too fast paced. But like I said, it does a really good job walking you through the quest line, walking you through the storyline, introducing you to new skills, introducing you to leveling up your gear, introducing you to the Heliquary. Everything's done at a good pace. So I don't think it will be overwhelming for anybody. They definitely designed it for the mobile user. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. Simon, you asked what are the benefits? Cons versus Immortal and Adventurers. I'm guessing you mean Immortal versus Shadows. And so I'm just gonna take it as that. Shadows, it's a different playstyle. Some of Shadows is you can do a lot more things on. It's more you can do a lot more solo stuff. Like Path of Blood is a great solo system. The Shadow contracts are a great solo system. Pretty much the only thing you really need to do that is as a group is the Rite of Exile and Raid the Vault. I'll get into Raid the Vault later. But so a lot of people like the flexibility of Shadows, whereas Immortal is actually a lot bigger time sink because you have I talked about it yesterday, but if you're playing Immortal, expect to spend like an hour and a half to 2 hours more a day doing Immortal activities than you did doing Shadow. And Immortals is more it's more for the group, right? It's more for the team. Everything you do is you do as a group and to increase the reign of the Immortals. So that's the best way to summarize it. One's more solo, one's more group oriented. Shadows takes an hour to an hour and a half less a day. Yes, that's true. Renard just said that there is no politics in Shadows, which is good. The Immortals does have the capacity to have quite a bit of politics involved. Okay, so I guess Humility is not gonna come up and speak. So we'll move on. So the next thing the Shadows have to offer is called Raid the Vault, and I think that's what people enjoy the most about Shadows. People love Raid the Vault. So this is where you get into PvE and PvP system all combined into one. So what you'll do is you queue up with a group. You can either have a party and queue up, or you can do kind of like a looking for group and queue up for the Path of Blood. Oh, sorry, not Path of Blood. Raid the Vault. and yeah, basically you'll enter, and then there's 4 levels. So you start out with level 1, then like story level 1, then you move to a level 2, then you move to level 3, then you move to level 4. And at the end of level 4, there will be like a Rift Guardian at the end, and you have to kill that Rift Guardian. But as you progress through the levels, it becomes harder and harder. So level 1, to basically go in, it's like a walk in the park. You'll kill NPCs. You'll collect the essences that drop on the ground, which is basically it is the sorry, not essences, essentia. It is the immortal currency. So that's like so the vault is like the bank for the immortals. It's where they keep all of their power, all of their gear, all of their currency. So the whole job of the shadows is to steal them, steal their currency, steal their gear, so that the immortals can't grow more powerful. So as you're going through level 1, it'll be easy. There will be something which is called a warden that spawns, and the warden has the potential to sound an alarm. And if you do not kill these wardens in time, then the warden will sound the alarm, and then the immortals will be alerted that you're in the vault, and the immortals will come in and defend the vault. So they'll try to kill you to kick you out of the vault to protect their loot. And if the immortals, the alarm is sounded and the immortals do come in, then it becomes a PvP event, which is cool. So it goes from being a PvE to a PvP. If the immortals kill everyone in the group, then that raid the vault is done. The shadows get ported out, and that vault is done. Now, if the shadows kill the immortals, then the immortals get ported out, and at that point, no more immortals can join the vault to defend it. So basically, it's a 4v4. If the shadows kill all the immortals, they get kicked out, and then no more immortals can come to defend. So at that point, you'll just be killing NPCs, collecting all the currency, and you'll make it to the level 4. You'll kill the boss, and then for completing it, you earn honor, and I think it's mostly honor, but other stuff as well. So that's a really neat event, and everyone I've talked to that played beta and alpha, that's what they enjoy the most about Shadow. And you will want to do it a certain amount of times a day, because you do get extra rewards for completing it, like hilts. And hilts is actually honor in this game, and the hilts can be used to buy stuff from the hilts vendor. So you will want to do Raid the Vault. Joel asked, are we going to have Raid the Vault schedule? Do you mean like through the clan, Joel, or do you mean like at what times of the day can you raid the vault in the game? Or if you're talking about raiding the vault and stuff in schedule here in Discord, if you want to do that, that's up to y'all. We're not going to have like any forms like to sign up for raiding the vault. That's just that'd be tedious. And it's more of just a fun event where you can hop in whenever you have a little free time. And as far as time during the day, raid the vault is not available all day. It's just like the events in the game. So as far as raid the vault goes and the special events in the game, you can only do it between certain hours of the day, and it's during the day. So at night, in the middle of the night, you cannot raid the vault. It's closed. Same with battlegrounds, and same with events. Serena Rock asks, what is the estimated time in raiding the vaults before the embassies ring the bell for PvP? In my experience, so like I said, each level gets progressively harder. So in level 1, it'll be really easy. You won't really have to worry about it. Level 2, there will be additional wardens that spawn. So each level that you progress through, more wardens spawn at once. By the time you get to level 4, you'll have like 3 or 4 wardens spawning all at one time. So the best thing to do is you have to have CC built into your group. You know, a Wizard of Black Hole, a bar with whirlwind of slows, stuns, because the wardens are fast. They do move fast, and they do take quite a bit of damage to kill them. So by the time you get to level 4, they're hard to kill. It's hard to get through level 4 without alerting immortals, but it can be done. You just have to have a good group that plans for it. And I said the whole time to do a raid the vault, to go from all the way through from level 1 to level 4 and exit, it's probably like 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, somewhere in there. So it doesn't take too much time, but it's a lot of fun. So Bones McCoy asked, is it a group of 4 or can you enter with 2 or 3 players? So Bones, in Alpha, you could enter with just 1 player. But in Beta, they made the change where there's a looking for group system built into Raid the Vault. And I think they actually changed it to where you have to have 4 people. So when you join, it puts you into a queue. Excuse me. It puts you into a queue, and then as soon as you have a group, you get ported in. And then Carson asked, can you raid a vault but not take a position as an immortal, like give it to someone else? I'm not really sure what you meant by that promising, but if you're a shadow and you join Raid the Vault as a shadow, you could complete things as you can't complete the whole thing with immortals never getting alerted, and then you'll just leave. But if immortals come in, then it will be a PvP event. I'm not sure if that answers the question. Hopefully. It seems like I interpreted your question wrong. I'm trying to read it, figure it out. So yeah, I think I get what you're saying now. So if you were to go in as a shadow, like as part of the SE family, do the vault, and then you're saying, could you steal the vault or some stuff in the vault from a non-SE Immortal family, but then give it back to like an SE family member? Is that what you're asking? The gear and so the gear that you're stealing from the vault doesn't actually go to you. On the immortal side of things, you can, as an immortal, you can see everything in the vault. So you can just go into the bank, or checking your bank account line, you can see everything there. You can see all the gear, you can see the currency, stuff like that. So as an immortal, you can bid on the gear. But the thing is, like, the gear will actively disappear if the shadows come in and they start stealing gear, and then that gear will slowly start to be depleted from the immortal bank. So, like I said yesterday, I've actually had, as an immortal, I've been sitting there and I'm like, oh, this piece of gear, this legendary in the bank, in the vault, is better than what I'm wearing. I'm gonna bid on it. So then I'll put a check mark and say I want it. And then at the end of the week, any gear that's left over in the bank gets distributed to the immortal players. So, but there's been many times where I've selected a piece of gear as an immortal, where within a couple of days the gear's gone. It's no longer there because the shadows have come in and stolen the gear. So it's pretty cool. Like when you're raiding the vault, you are doing something. You are actively hurting the immortals if you're successful. So it's a fun event. But yeah, there's a lot of layers. It's hard for you guys to wrap your mind around it because there's just so much going on. But as you get into the game, you'll start remembering and referring back to videos you've seen, or like, oh, this is what Red October meant, or this is what Wadums meant, and you'll see it play out in real time. You'll adjust fast. Okay, so I'm gonna move on from. I think we're good with Raid the Vault. Okay, I guess we're not good. So Bones McCoy asks, is there a limit to how much Essentia you can steal? And how does the shadows use Essentia? So no, there's not a limit. I mean, so there's a certain amount of Essentia in each vault. I guess I don't know how. So the main vault has all the Essentia. So when you as a group go and join the vault, you only have access to a certain amount of essentia at a time. And when you reach the end, if you complete it, it will say you've captured 100% of the essentia. So and I don't know how much essentia is associated with each raid the vault, but your goal is to steal 100% of it. So if you've done that, you're successful. You're successful. And the essentia is not used. That it's a currency just for immortals. Is not used by shadows. All right. Okay, so let's see. So the next thing, there's something called. We'll move on from that. The next thing is called assembly. You might have come across it in some videos, but it's just a random event in the day. I think it's at 6 Eastern. I want to say something like that. Maybe it was 5. Anyways, towards the end of the day, and it's a weird event. It's basically like you just go to the shadow underground. So basically, the shadows all their whole fortress or lair city, whatever you want to call it, is actually underground, underneath Westmarch, and it looks like sewers. It's pretty cool, but it goes in the whole, it goes in with the whole thing of being a shadow. So that's how they tried to design it to work. But yeah, so you'll head down there at that time, and it's called the assembly. And you'll also you'll get notifications in game, hey, the assembly has commenced, and so then you'll know to go to that area. And basically, what it is you'll get 4 different blessings while standing around, and you want to collect all 4 blessings. It's not fast; it takes like maybe 5 minutes to get all the blessings, and then you'll get rewards, really good rewards, like really really good XP buffs, XP rewards. So that's another thing that really helps you to level your character, especially in the later levels when you get into like the 40s and 50s. I highly recommend doing the assembly. Never skip it. Whatever it lasts, I think, for an hour. So it'll be from like 6 to 7 or 5 to 6. Whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing, go to the assembly and do it, because you'll gain almost an entire level of experience, of an experience bar just from that event alone. So it really helps you level. And then you have the possibility of getting legendaries from it, gear, resources, stuff like that. So the rewards are. It's called the assembly. All right. So then that's basically all there is about the assembly. There's not much involved with that. So then past that, there's called the Rite of Exile, and the Rite of Exile that is the challenge to the Immortals. That's the point where there's top 10 dark clans. There's 10 dark clans in the top 10. They've progressed far enough in the rankings that they can start the Rite of Exile. And then from that point on, every Sunday until the Immortals are overturned, every Sunday there will be a PvP event between the Shadows versus Immortals. The top 10 Dark Clans will get to send 8 players from each Dark Clan to participate in, in 10 different battlegrounds. So it uses the same system as normal battlegrounds uh, in the game. So it actually is good to go do normal PvP battlegrounds, because you get a feel for the strategy and the goals, because it's not just an open PvP. There's goals that you want to do. There's active strategy that's involved in battlegrounds. So uh, so do some PvPs before you enter a Rite of Exile, right? Because Rite of Exile is where basically the Shadows win or the Immortals win. Right, so then the Immortals, they'll send 80 of their best players to verse the top 10 Dark Clans. And then if the Shadows win 6 or more so 6 to 10 of the separate battlegrounds, then the Shadows will overthrow the Immortals, and the number 1 Dark Clan will become the Immortal Clan. and then they'll have the opportunity to ally with 2 other dark clans, and then those clans will basically be invited into the Immortals. So it's a cool system, and all that stuff is handled in game as well. There will be a place you will go to the area where the Rite of Exile is. There will be an NPC there, and you'll sign up for the event. So you'll walk over there, you'll say, yes, I want to sign up for the Rite of Exile, and then any leader or any leader of the Dark Clans will be able to see that roster, be able to see who signed up for the event. So, but if the Immortals win five or more of the individual battlegrounds, then they may maintain their rank. But it is impossible for Immortals to maintain their reign indefinitely. There is a stacking buff. It's like a 5% weekly buff for shadows, and it increases your damage, life every week. So there will be a point, no matter how strong Immortals are, that all the Immortals will be overthrown, and that would usually take 2 weeks to a month. I'm thinking more like 2 to 3 weeks will be the average of the Immortals being overthrown. It really just depends on how strong the Immortals are. Anyone have any questions about Rite of Exile? And as a clan, we'll organize our own Rite of Exile roster in Discord. So you guys are welcome to sign up in game and everything, but then we'll take the people that signed up in game, or you can just sign up on Discord. That's fine too. And then we'll make a roster off of that, and we'll put the best 8 players in the Dark Clan to compete against the Immortals. So Bones asked, how do you rank up in your Shadow, and does your rank change after every changing of Immortals? So yeah, it's easy to level up as a Shadow. It's the same thing. It's basically, are you doing your contracts? Are you continually increasing your rank on Path of Blood? If you're contributing to that stuff, then you will rank up. You will increase your rank within the Dark Clan. And then at the same time, that also helps increase the rank of the Dark Clan itself. Oh, I forgot to mention too, Raid the Vault. Raid the Vault also contributes to the Dark Clan and your rank as well. And then Bones also asked, and does your rank change after every changing of Immortals? So the whole process of becoming immortal and then being overthrown by shadows is called the cycle of strife. And after this could change, because I know from what we've been hearing that there will be a lot of changes forthcoming to the whole cycle of strife. So things can change. But as of now, as soon as the Eagles lose and the Dark Clan ascends to immortality, that reign is done. Everything's reset. So if you were a Whisperer rank 4 in your Dark Clan, and your Dark Clan had this much power, all that gets wiped, and you start over. So at the end of each cycle, you'll have to start over, unless that changes. Let's see, if there's anything else. I think that's about it for Shadows. If you guys, I'll just open it up if y'all have any questions or want to talk. You can raise your hand, come up here, we can chat, or you can ask in the Campfire chat. So he was asked, does the whole clan have to ascend in the event you do not want to ascend to Immortal? So like I said, it's only the number 1 Dark Clan that automatically ascends to Immortal. I really don't think there will be. So as far as Scrappy Echoes goes, we will have a clan that is trying to push to be number 1, or at least top 3 Dark Clans, and that will be the Immortal clan. They'll be the ones pushing to be there. Then there will be another Scrappy Echoes Dark Clan, where their goal is to participate in all this stuff, right? You want to participate in Rite of Exile. It's a lot of fun, but that doesn't mean that you'll ascend. So their goal will be to get to see all the shadow stuff, get to participate in all of it, but not necessarily trying to push to ascend. But for some reason, the clan you're in, they do reach number 1 and they become immortal. There is as a beta, there is an option for you to leave immortals. That the same option didn't exist as shadows. You could not leave shadows. Once you were a shadow, you were permanently a shadow until the cycle of strife ended. But immortals, you could leave at any time. So I'm not sure how that will change with it actually being like a clan that ascends into immortality. But I'm sure there will be more information on that soon. I bet they'll come out with some kind of blog post about the cycle of strife probably next week or 2 weeks from now. So fourth, that's what is the cycle period? So cycle of strife just means basically from the time that the number 1 dark clan defeats the immortals, then at that point the number 1 dark clan will ascend into immortality. Then the entire time that immortal clan maintains power and holds their reign till the time that they lose that power, that's considered an entire cycle. So hopefully that answers your question for us. There are cool cosmetics for immortals. Immortals, if you hold it for 2 weeks, I believe, and you do all of your dailies as an immortal and all your quests, then you'll unlock the wings. No, I think that was actually a week. After a week, you'll unlock wings, angel wings. That will signify that you're an immortal. And then past that, I think after week 3, and once you reach a certain level as the immortal clan, a certain dominance, and after week 3, you actually gain an entire cosmetic. And I think that's after week 3. We did gain. I think I have some screenshots of that because we did gain actually that cosmetic as immortals. But it's like any cosmetic. You'll be able to equip it, or you'll be able to remove it. So if you don't like it, you can remove it and go back to your original look, or you can equip it. Either way. But once you lose your immortal status and you will also lose the immortal cosmetic. So you don't get to keep it forever. So Gift Fortuna, you asked, what if I want to play more casual? I really like the adventurer idea. So all I can say to you for that, Fortuna, is that in alpha there was actually benefits to being an adventurer, but as a beta, the developer said no. Like they took it away. People complain about so much. They took away the perks of being an adventurer. And Wyatt said that they want to push everyone to be at least a shadow. If you don't participate in the shadow stuff, of probably like I mean Shadow versus Immortal, that's probably like 40% of the game. So you'll be missing out on a lot of the layers and the depth of the game. So you can still be a shadow and not or not even it still be casual. So in Scrappy Echoes we'll have a clan that is for immortals, the really hardcore players that will want to push immortality. Then we'll also have a clan for the shadows that still play a lot, still are pretty hardcore, but they want to remain shadows. And then we'll have another clan where people can participate in shadows, but it's more casual, right? So you don't have to do your days every day. If you take a few days off, a week off, it's not a big deal. It will be more casual. So that's how we plan on breaking stuff down. And again, that will be announced. Once Nemo comes back. We already have all the clan structure in place, so we'll put that out when he gets back. So DMAC asked, can you break down how many players are in a clan, a dark house, warband, etc.? So I don't go too far into warband because that's not what this is pertaining to. This topic is pertaining to, but there are things coming for warbands in Discord. It's just a group of 8 people who do stuff together. But Red October will set up a campfire chat for probably next week. where we'll go more into detail about new changes to warbands and stuff like that. As far as clan goes, so Wyatt mentioned in an interview that there would be 100 people in the clan, but in beta and alpha there was 150 people in clan. And from what we know, there's actually turmoil about how many people they're going to put in the clan. They're still not sure. So they're still deciding if they want it to be 100 people or do they want it to be 150 people. So as soon as we find out, or as soon as we know, we'll make an announcement about it, or you'll probably actually you'll probably get a blog post from Blizzard first, where they talk about all the changes, how many people will be in a clan, and then we can move on from there. And shadows do not have cosmetics. There's no special cosmetics for shadows. The only cosmetics you'll get is from the battle pass or any achievements that comes in the game that allow you to obtain cosmetics, or from you level up your gems to level 10. That will also change the looks of your gear. But there's no shadow cosmetics. Let's see. So I think that's everything. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? We're going. Someone raise their hand. Oh, it's Joel. I don't want to talk to you, Joel. What's up, Joel?
I have a quick question for the shadow stuff. Have you guys kind of figured out a schedule when the group play shadow is going to happen? Like, are we going to have our own kind of like event times where it's like, hey, we're trying to arrange groups to do certain events that are group shadow events at this time Eastern and this time Pacific, just to kind of make it a little bit more streamlined so people know to log in for them?
Well, see, that's the thing about shadows. It's more individually based anyway. Really, the only group thing is raid the vault, right? And I mean, sure. I mean, we're not going to regulate that. I feel like that's too much. But people are welcome to hop in Discord and be like, hey, I'm gonna raid the vault on this time. Is anyone else going to be on? That's fine, Or you can put it in clan, but we won't hold events like that because that's something just people should be able to hop in during the day and do whenever they want. There's, like I said, there's a looking for group option for it that works really well now. Or you can just ask in guild chat if anyone wants to join you. So we think that's the best way. We don't want to regulate it too much.
Okay, I guess it was more so just having a time for people so everyone kind of knew it was a general time. It's like, hey, your clan mates are going to be on at this time if you guys want to form groups. I mean, it's always nice playing with your friends versus just random people, right? That's all.
For sure, yeah. I mean, we do plan on releasing a kind of like a questionnaire that asks people what time, like what time of day do they play, how many hours a day do they play, and that way like-minded people can group up and do stuff like that together in game. So that would be a good way to determine like which group is best for you, which group of players you could play with.
Yeah, I think we've kind of already started to do that a little bit too. Just figuring out when people are on, because it's nice playing with the same group for games like this, and it's I mean, for alpha, I felt like a lot of the time it was just me playing with random people, and it was just like, and just because the timing didn't work. But it's going to be nice with a big group where it's you kind of get to play with your friends, and everybody just everyone's on at the same time, and it's a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, I agree. I hope they don't. I hope they don't decrease the amount of clan members to 100. I think 150 is a good number. That way, there's always people on and it's always active in game.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yep. What you got, Dark?
Well, to add to your answer to Joel, Adam, we have planned to make teams like 3 high-level members and help those that in need, like high-level dungeons. 3 members like me and you, Adam, or Joel, that are like 50 Paragon level, help the 10 Paragon level in a day or two. for several times. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, so that stuff will for sure happen. We expect that to just happen organically. But for stuff that requires like coordination, say like raids, the Heliquary, there will be new raid bosses monthly from what they said, right? So, and you can do each raid boss twice a week, and you can do it on different difficulties now. So, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of raiding going on. So for something like that, we will schedule events and do well. Anything else, Bart?
And just I wanted to say we have a lot of surprise for you guys as a family of the Scrap Makers. Nothing else.
Don't spoil it, man. Okay, all right. Well, if that's it, if anyone has any last minute questions, you can ask now in the Campfire chat or here. Otherwise, we're gonna start winding it down. Thanks everyone for attending. Hopefully, I answered most of your questions. Again, Red October will probably host another shadow event next week or the week after, just for people that didn't make it or people that think of questions and want to ask Red October. You can do that as well. All right. Well, I don't see anyone typing, so I think that's it. All right, guys. Thanks. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night and day.
Later, Dart.